I'm Thane Maynard. Tune into the 90-Second Naturalist and find out how we're interacting with the natural world today.
Listen every weekday afternoon during the KSJE Evening News at 5:30.
Hi, I'm Yael Cassander.
And I'm Don Glass.
And we host A Moment of Science.
For more than 20 years, A Moment of Science has been taking an entertaining look at the science behind some of life's most perplexing questions.
In just 2 minutes, you get a look at the fascinating world around us and beyond.
We hope you'll tune in.
For more information about A Moment of Science or to download our latest podcasts, visit us at amomentofscience.org.
Listen weekday afternoons at 5:45 on KSJE. This program is supported by MyLabs, patient-ordered testing. San Juan Regional Medical Center is expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings year-round. Now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, is available at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street in Farmington. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. "15 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Thursday morning on KSJE 90.9 FM. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin, and thank you for tuning in this morning. A special welcome to folks who are watching us this morning on Facebook and the KSJE YouTube channel. Welcome aboard, everybody. Coming up in just a moment, my guest here on the program, Warren Unsicker, is standing by. He's Executive Director of Four Corners Economic Development. First couple of reminders for you. Later on this hour, we'll talk about the economy with Jason Calcote from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation. And then at 9 a.m., Mick will be along roving with the arts, and today it is Haydn Symphony Day, Haydn Symphony number 68 we are up to, as Mick is playing all the Haydn symphonies in order for us every Thursday. And don't forget about our local movie review program, A Review Too Far. That's coming up today at noon on KSJE, and today one of the films our reviewers are talking about is The Nun. You'll hear about that coming up today at noon on KSJE, and you can always check out our programming schedule by going to our website at ksje.com. And I also want to remind you that's where you can find our regional events calendar, and we do have some events that are on our regional events calendar, so let's take a look at that as you see a live picture of San Juan College this morning at 8:16 as traffic is arriving, and of course classes will start here in just a few moments. But let's take a look at some of the events on our regional events calendar at ksje.com happening today and on into the weekend. There are lots of things that you can check out. Auditions for the 5th annual San Juan County Got Talent, as you can see. The art show, Two Colorful Women, continuing at the Henderson Fine Arts Center Gallery. There's an underage drinking and drug abuse forum happening today here at San Juan College. And tomorrow, San Juan College Family Game Day and Movie Night is happening here on campus. And then movie night is Avengers Infinity War tomorrow here at Graduation Plaza, otherwise known as Learning Commons Plaza here at San Juan College. And that starts at dusk. Just a few of the many events, as you saw scroll by there at ksje.com. Well, now let me welcome my guest who is here with me in the studio, Warren Unsicker from Four Corners Economic Development. Mr. Unsicker, welcome back to KSJE.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
It's good to have you with us, and welcome to our visual radio studio for the very first time.
The old phrase, face for radio, is kind of obsolete at this juncture.
It is at this radio station. That's true, and you don't have one of those, so we're glad to have you here and on camera. Pleasure. To our viewers who are watching us, and we appreciate everyone tuning in this morning. And as usual, you come with a lot of topics that we can be discussing, yes, and the one thing that was on my mind is something that hit the news just recently, yes, and this is that proposal by Hillcorp, which is now, I think, the major player here in the San Juan Basin.
Correct. Yeah, after all the acquisitions they've made recently,
right,
and, including the recent one with their Harvest Midstream that's acquiring Williams assets, there's a lot of action with Hillcorp. And so they're in the midst right now of trying to push through some amendments to a rule that allows for them to have a few more wells in a certain area. I think right now it's limited to 4 per 320 acres.
I see.
And so they're trying to expand that rule out on public lands to be able to utilize some existing wells that they already have and add to the mix. So not to necessarily add more wells to it, but just to utilize existing wells and reactivate them.
Right. But this rule change would affect both Hillcorp wells and other wells.
Yeah, any other wells
in
that
the
are
basin,
out there.
right?
So yeah, it would affect the rules throughout. My understanding, possibly throughout the state.
Right.
Yeah. And so this is something that would significantly affect their capability to drill more and well, not drill more, but have more wells active and working. So
right, and not just new wells, but also existing wells. Is that true as well?
Yeah, that's my understanding. Yes.
And so, from an economic development standpoint, this would be a positive thing?
Sure, yeah, no, and the hope is that they need more crews and people to manage those wells, and so that could be very positive. So we're kind of waiting and seeing to see how it ends up affecting the region. So
right, and the other side of me is saying, well, but what for the environmental side, those folks would be understandably concerned, I suppose, about maybe a doubling of well sites then.
Well, yes, and plus that my understanding too is there's a new rule being amended by the Trump administration that would allow for more fumes, emissions and such. So I can understand why there may be some concerns out there, but hopefully we have producers that have become far more efficient, far more environmentally sound over the years, and so it's not nearly as big of an issue as it used to be, where it was kind of fast and loose and just kind of getting them up as fast as you could and maybe not as clean as you could.
Right.
And so technology has come a long way, so hopefully that's going to show itself in this process. So.
And I don't think neither one of us are oil and gas experts,
no.
but with some of this new technology, the horizontal drilling and things like that, would that avoid the need for some of these additional well sites? Or
in some ways it can, especially the newer sites. They have the capability to go horizontal and have more basically tendril going out from one well than they used to. So they're able to produce a lot more out of one well than they've used to have to take 2 or 3 or more.
Right.
And likewise less people at each well too. And so that's the other part of the equation. So it's not.
But even with that, they still need this rule change, I guess, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that and giving us the economic development insight into that request. And I think there's a hearing today, I think.
Possibly, yeah. So they're moving fast with this, and I understand there's hearings and opportunities to comment and such. So,
but it has been fairly short notice, I think, from when it was.
That's my understanding, too.
When it was proposed. But they are the major player, and we know what an impact the oil and gas industry has on the economy of our region and of our state.
Absolutely. And it's something that we are not nearly as benefited by the rise in oil prices because we're predominantly a natural gas basin, and those prices have continued to stay relatively low. That's in part due to places like the Permian Basin, where it's almost a waste product at this juncture. And so, they're pumping out oil, and the natural gas is just kind of a byproduct that they have to figure out a way to manage. So that becomes troublesome for a natural gas basin like us. So.
Right. And I guess the other issue is we become so efficient in getting the natural gas out of the ground that the price is low.
Yeah,
there's a big supply.
Absolutely, yeah. No, technology is leaps and bounds of what it used to be even 10 years ago, and so because of low prices, they've gotten far more efficient and far more technologically savvy about extracting those assets out of the ground. So.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you again for that information about this proposal, and I do want to ask you a bit about some other things you've been working on. One is the Future Forum, which, of course, you held one already and getting ready for another one, I think, right?
Yes, and so we're holding, this is going to be a one-day event,
okay,
and this is going to be on November 1st, and so this one's going to be a little bit different. We've been, over the past year, collecting a lot of information. We've been doing surveys, we've been collecting from the public and from other entities to try and kind of weed out what the highest priorities and the lowest hanging fruit are from a regional perspective, and what has the most broad-based impact. Because right now, we don't want to make sure that people understand this isn't just for Farmington. It's for the entire 4-state region to try and bolster things that will benefit all of us as a region. Our economies are intrinsically tied together. If you look at it close enough, you'll see that as one goes, so goes the other, so to speak, as far as the nation and Farmington and Durango and all these players, they directly impact each other. So even with the lack of snow and the fires, I'm sure that's directly impacted us even coming down from Durango, and so vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's something that we are trying to find out and collect that data, and we now have that. We've got the results of a survey we did just recently, narrowed a field of about 20 priorities that we'd identified out of all the economic development documents from the 4-state region, and have narrowed it down to about 4 or 5 that are the key, true, low-hanging, most impactful things that were identified by the public.
I see. Right. Okay.
And so now we are basically garnering the help of the 4-state experts, or the resident experts in those different realms, to find out kind of what are the tools we have all at our disposal. So we want people that know where the lockers of information and resources are, and pool those all together to come up with a solution that is most impactful for the region.
Gotcha.
And so that'll really be kind of the frame of what this next event will be. So it'll be a little bit smaller, possibly. It'll be a little more focused. It's definitely going to be a work session, not necessarily like a conference per se. So not necessarily wide open to the public this time around. And so this will be something that hopefully when we're all said and done, we have actionable items that we're going to be able to pursue and put forth and actually make something happen. So
I see. And the idea is still, though, to include other economic development
Right.
folks from our neighboring states and regions and tribes and what have you, isn't that?
Absolutely, yeah. So this is an inclusive event. It's something that we're hoping that we garner the interest of all those parties that we'd had at the table the first time, and hopefully more this time, and make sure that they understand that this isn't just us trying to push an agenda on our part. We really do want their input, their insight, and their needs at the table, so that we can have something that, when all's said and done, really does benefit the entire region, and something that everyone can buy into.
Right.
Because if we don't have their buy-in, it's just us spinning our wheels at that juncture. So
Exactly. And this is all part of the larger goal to work as a unified entity, I suppose, or have all the 4 states or all of the regions or counties or everybody kind of working in the same direction. Because if
Exactly.
somebody has a large employer, I guess, who has 100 jobs to fill, there's no reason those employers can't be commuting in from Durango to Farmington or vice versa,
Yeah.
or what have you.
And
Is
we
that the
know
idea?
that's happening to begin with.
Right. We have a lot of folks across the
Exactly.
border.
In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of folks here at the college that possibly even live up in Durango.
That's
And
true.
So you have that synergistic workforce as well. You're absolutely right. And so it's kind of that old adage, the rising tide raises all boats. There is that feel around this area of, if you have a job open up in Durango or on the Navajo Nation or in these different areas, it does benefit the region, because either A, they're collecting workforce from the broader region, or B, that broader workforce is coming into Farmington or Durango to do their shopping, or they're going and playing out in Utah, and
Right.
there's just an interconnectivity that is too tight to ignore, essentially.
Right.
So.
And so that's the idea behind
Correct.
putting these folks together and having another one of these future forums.
Absolutely, and to the point of landing a project. This isn't as granular as that. As far as like we're gonna all work together to capture one business
Sure.
per se. This is more setting the stage for those businesses. So having broader, bigger projects that might attract the attention of those types of businesses to this region, and hopefully to one or another community in the regions.
Right. And as we talked before, though, it also helps to have maybe 8 U.S. senators on the same page,
From a
rather than
legislative
just 2,
perspective, yes,
or
absolutely.
an entire delegation from the 4 corner states at the federal level, if there's a way to get some federal notifications or agency interest or what have you.
Precisely. And so that's where, when we come upon things that are broader, bigger issues that we can't address solely on our own, or that we can't get quite enough attention on a federal level to manage. One example of that is the BLM relocation of their national offices.
That's right. They've been talking about moving that out of Washington, D.C., out west somewhere.
Right, exactly. And why not here where?
Right. Yeah,
Why
right.
not? Why can't that somewhere be here? And so that's something that I'm working on right now with a collective of economic development folks, trying to figure out what we can do to track the attention of those groups to this area, because we have a collective workforce that's much bigger than they may understand. We have a huge amount of public lands to manage, so if they're looking for a place to do that, this is the place to do it. And we have vacant office spaces that are available for those types of things. So
Right.
Between the BP office, it's just about probably to clear out up in Durango with the recent announcement of the BP selling their assets.
Right.
Depending on how things shake out with the ConocoPhillips building, or there's just numerous options in this region to attract that type of office space here and that type of job base. And again, it would also benefit our region from a natural resource management perspective, both from a recreation and from a natural resource, oil and gas and coal perspective, to have that presence directly in the midst of our communities.
Sure. Interesting. My guest this morning, Warren Unsicker, is here. He's Executive Director of Four Corners Economic Development. We welcome our listeners who are listening on KSJE.com or 90.9 FM, and our viewers who are watching on the KSJE Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Welcome aboard, everyone, and thank you for being with us. Mr. Unsicker, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, there's certainly a lot more to talk with you about, always is, so we'll be back with more in just a moment here on KSJE. The time right now is 8:29. KSJE is supported by the new Performing Arts Cooperative of the Southwest, producing programs for a growing number of arts organizations, including the San Juan Symphony in Farmington and Durango, Third Avenue Arts, Durango Choral Society, and Southwest Civic Winds in Durango. Advertising for the fall and winter season programs is being accepted until September 14th. Find out more at 970-247-3004. Performing Arts